Welcome to this week's YouTube, which is an in-depth week of workouts training for an ultramarathon while still lifting and doing my HYROX training. So I am doing the Ultravasan 90, which is a 92-kilometer ultramarathon in Sweden on the 16th of August. And to be honest, my prep has not got off to the best start for this, just because I've had so many HYROX competitions. I did Berlin, Riga, and then Chicago Worlds all in the space of a couple of weeks. So the priority was just recovery and not adding in all this extra running mileage. But I'm a couple of weeks post-comp now. I'm almost fully back to my normal training, fully recovered. So this week will be a really interesting one to take you through. It's a Monday starting at the beginning of the week, and I'm going to go hit some back first in the gym, and then I do have a run to do later, but I won't be hitting that for a couple of hours because it's currently 29 degrees in the UK, which is the hottest it ever gets here, to be honest. And like, I'm literally just sat in my car dripping in sweat, so I will be waiting for the temperature to drop a little bit before going and doing that this evening. But let's go hit the gym first. Okay, session number 2 for today is an easy run. I don't have an exact number in mind, but something in and around 10k would be great, but we'll see because it is very, very hot and I'm running through the woods, which will be good for ultra training because it is a bit more traily, whereas normally I just run on the flat roads by my house. But this is a bit more up and down, which will be harder, but good for training. I'm at 4.5k now and I feel all right, so I'll definitely make it to 10. Even though my watch has told me I'm very fatigued, I actually don't feel too bad. I think the tree's giving me so much shade that I'm actually not overheating like I thought I would. But yeah, overall feeling okay, just feeling very bloated. I definitely didn't leave enough time for my food to go down, so my stomach just feels very, very full, but legs are feeling okay. That's my Tuesday session done. So I did actually end up having a bit of a nightmare with timings today. I had a really quick meeting at lunchtime in London. Thought I'd come back, have loads of time to train, but basically all the trains ended up getting cancelled and just really delayed. So I got back quite a lot later than expected, but I've just gone and trained and done one session, which was starting with a bit of strength testing, which to be honest, I kind of cut short and didn't do fully. So I had a bench press 1 rep max, push press 5 rep max, and then a dumbbell bench press 10 rep max. I did the barbell bench press, did 45 kilograms, failed 50. Then I did the push press, I can't even remember now. I think I did 40 kilograms for 5. And then I didn't do the dumbbell bench press. Basically, they're just movements that I don't actually train. This is strength testing for my HYROX programming, but I just don't train those movements. So it's not like a normal exercise that I do where I can build up to a heavy max and like it gets progressively more challenging. This is just like the movements feel weird. Like when I'm benching, I'm not benching in a straight line because my muscles aren't used to the movement. So it just feels wrong and not necessarily like heavy. So yeah, I just wasn't feeling that, and then decided that I wanted to actually get a bit of a sweat on. So I moved into like a bit of aerobic session. I did 3 minutes ski, 3 minutes row, 3 minutes bike, just repeat for 45 minutes. And it was zone 2, but I was sweating just because of how hot it is at the moment. Happy Wednesday morning, guys. I got up a bit earlier today just so I could get an hour of work done. Now I'm doing a 45-minute easy run, but my lats are so sore. Obviously I did back day, and then even though yesterday was zone 2, obviously there's a bit of skiing in there which has really brought on the DOMs, but that is like the main difference in my training now, going from HYROX race prep to ultra training, is really like the intensity of my sessions. So bringing the intensity way down, lots more zone 2, because the priority is recovery, so I can get my mileage in and increase the mileage quite high. So the last thing I want is really intense sessions, bad DOMs, so I can't actually train. So last week I think I hit a bit too hard because I had a 21k run at the end of the week, but my leg DOMs were so bad I only managed 10. So the goal this week is to get all my runs done. And then other things I'm doing in terms of recovery, sleep is really good. I've got no problem with sleep. Nutrition is good now that I'm home again. Hydration probably could be better. Just with it being so hot, it does add that extra barrier to like being properly hydrated. Extra measures. I realised there's like a cold plunge and sauna place near where I live, which I had no idea about, so I'm going to start trying to get in there, maybe like once or twice a week. Sports massages and dry needling. I'm going to try to do that once every 2 weeks, and then just staying on top of my vitamins, minerals and supplements, really just trying to get those 1%ers, because when you're training for something as hard as an ultra and just training so hard in general, that's where those 1%ers will actually start to make more of a difference. The loop I did only took me 41 minutes, so I just cut it there, but 41 minutes and 6.23k done. Okay, second run of the day, I'm doing the exact same loop, 6.3k, same pace, nice and easy. Yeah, in the gorgeous weather too. It's now Friday morning, so I kind of skipped over Thursday, but last night or yesterday evening I did a 20 minutes kind of HYROX style EMOM, because I just wanted something that's going to get my heart rate up. I've been doing so much zone 2, which is necessary, but it's not the most enjoyable for me. So 20-minute HYROX EMOM. I did minute 1 was 150 meter row, minute 2 10 down ups, minute 3 150 meter row, and then minute 4 was 15 kettlebell swings, and I did 5 rounds of that, so 20 minutes. Then I did just 20 minutes zone 2 on the bike as a little bit of like a leg flush out, because today I've got my hardest session, my longest run. I've tried to not set myself a goal, because the last 2 weeks with my long runs I just haven't been able to do the distance because my legs have been too fatigued. I also think it's probably partly like a mental thing as well. I'm trying to run these distances which I haven't touched since like November, December time last year, so yeah, definitely a bit of a mental block as well. So I'm not setting myself any specific goal, I just want to run as far as possible, ideally over a half marathon as well, ideally over 25k to be honest. So I'm just having an ESN oat bar and then finishing off the rest of my electrolytes. So I've had this whole jog this morning while I wait for my watch to charge, but I can't find my running vest anywhere, so I can't bring any water with me, which is annoying. So I'm gonna have to like loop back to my house and get a drink. But while I'm doing that anyway, I'm gonna try and take on some solid foods while I run. So I've got another ESN oat bar, which I'll just like leave on the side, and I'll come and have that, because obviously in an ultra you can't just rely on gels and things, you do need to take on some solid foods as well. So I'm just gonna use this as a training run. I'm going to aim for like 10k loops, come back every 10k, grab something to eat, grab something to drink, and just see how far I can go. I'm about 5.5k in, and I feel so good. Like, this is the first long run in weeks where my legs have not been absolutely fucked, like, and they feel fine, so I'm just really happy. I know I'm actually going to be able to get in some distance today, which is great. And it's a beautiful day again, sun is shining. But I'm going to have my first gel at 45 minutes. And then after about an hour, go back for a drink and just really try and stay on top of my nutrition or fueling and hydration for this long run, because I do also actually have a leg day to hit later, so really need to make sure that I've got enough carbs in my system. I'm just coming up to 20k now, and I'm still feeling surprisingly good. My knees are starting to hurt a bit more now, just because of like the impact of running a distance I haven't run for a very long time. But I had a gel at 45 minutes, a gel at 90 minutes, and then half an oat bar and a drink at 1 hour 45, I want to say. And yeah, I can't remember if I said I'm coming up to 19.5k. I think I did, so I'm gonna go for 30. Post 30k, I'm feeling surprisingly good. So my longest run in the last couple of months is 18k, and to be honest, in the whole of 2025 I've barely touched over the 15k distance, so that's obviously quite a big jump, 18 to 30, but my legs felt so fresh, which was honestly the nicest surprise. Like, recently I've had the most fatigued, achy, horrible legs that have meant I physically can't run because it's just so painful, whereas I actually could run and just enjoy myself and like switch off basically and not be thinking about how much my legs hurt. So I'm so pleased with that. That's my longest run since I was training for Amsterdam Marathon last October, where I did 32k. So what is that, 6 months? Longest run in 6 months, and longest run by far in 6 months as well. So I'm so proud of that. Towards the end, obviously my knees did start to hurt and things like that, just because my body wasn't used to the impact, but overall it felt so good. I had 2 really long true crime podcasts on, which I find helps me switch off so much. Like if it's just music, I don't know why, but like I'm just constantly thinking about how far I have left to run, whereas when I'm listening to like more of a podcast, it has to be like an audiobook or like a true crime podcast, something with like a bit of a story. I can tend to like lose myself in it and actually switch off, especially because I was doing the same 5k loop over and over and over again, and normally I'd just be thinking about how long I have left. And also this is the loop that I run all the time, so there's no newness, like it's the same old boring route. So I was really pleasantly surprised about how much I was able to switch off. I definitely nailed my fueling, like I really stayed on top of that, and now we're a couple of hours post run and I'm about to go hit legs at the gym, which I'll be honest, I don't know how this is going to go, but I've got no choice but to do legs today. I purposely didn't want to train legs before this run because I knew I wanted my legs to be as fresh as possible, and that worked at least. But I've got a really busy weekend, so tomorrow I'm seeing one of my oldest friends in Bath for the day, so I'm going to take a full rest day, and then on Sunday I'm doing a pretty crazy workout / event, so this is the last day to get it done, but I will take it slightly easier on myself, knowing I've just done that massive run this morning. But the plan is like squats, heavy hip thrusts, step ups, and then my like calf races, hip abduction, hip adduction, all the things I need to do from my physio. But let's head in. Recap of Sunday's workout. I did a bloody HYROX sim, which I did enjoy myself, but 2 days after a 30k run and leg day, 48 hours, we all know that's when DOMS hits the hardest, and I can tell you firsthand, the DOMS were hitting hard. So basically it was the Slevin, it's not officially called a HYROX sim, I think they're not allowed to, but it was the Slevin hybrid race, which is, it's a gym in London. It's actually the gym that I held my Be Both event at. Well, I've actually held 2 events there. It's an amazing space. So it was 7 stations and 7 runs. The runs were only 800 meters though, thank God. The stations were, it basically follows the same format as a HYROX, except there's no sleds. So instead of the sled push, you had a standing bike erg, and then sled pull was just taken out altogether. So that's where the 7 exercises comes from. And then in terms of the stations, some of them were a little longer. So like burpees, we were doing more than 80 meters of burpees. I think it was like 140 meters. Farmers carry as well, probably close to 300 meters. So yeah, overall it was a fun day. I did it with Grace, who's my normal HYROX racing partner. My legs were just in pain on the runs, but we didn't race it fully. It was more just like a fun day out, to be honest, because we had that, like the sim, and then we had the Rocks Queens event with Meg Jacoby afterwards, which is basically just like, it was a little community thing full of women, which was lovely. So this is potentially going to go very wrong, me trying to make my clear way. Oh my God, I almost dropped it. So yeah, that was Sunday's workout, which that was the only workout of the week where I felt fatigued, but unsurprisingly. So overall, it was a really solid week of training. And the first proper week of training where I feel like I've actually, well, no, not that I feel like, the first week of training where I have actually been able to complete all my runs, complete all my workouts, and I really just feel on track. So that, I guess, first official week of ultra training started. I ended up capping in at just over 60 kilometers total running distance, which is not quite where I need to be, but it's a massive improvement, and I am being mindful of not jumping up too quickly because I do have an ultra to run and I've got several other races after that I need to be prepped for. So overall, a massive win for the week, and I'm actually now in, as you can tell, I'm not at home, I'm in Club La Santa, which is like I guess it's kind of like a fitness resort in Lanzarote. So I'm here for a week of training, working, all that good stuff. Hopefully the sun comes out at some point. It's been very cloudy the last 2 days, but if you're interested in what I'm getting up to here, I'm filming a couple of little daily vlogs, so stay tuned for them. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful, and thank you so much for watching. See you again for the next one.